Hey, it's Louise Schofield and I'm now joined with Indoor Pets who are going to take the stage here for the Factory Live in Worthing for Independent Venue Week. How are you guys feeling about tonight? Hello! Yes!
We're feeling pretty good.
Pretty good.
We've been on tour all week to lots of venues around the country.
Yeah.
And so far, every single show has been actually very, very good.
Has it?
Yeah, we've got high expectations.
Banging.
Ooh. And this is quite a new venue as well, which is nice. It opened 4 months ago, which
really
is quite
clean.
nice. It is very clean, isn't it?
No one's written anything on the wall.
No, yet.
There's no drawings of genitalia.
They do. I know. Nice.
Oh, that's
Yeah. That's to stop you from writing on the wall.
Oh, that's a good
Nice
idea.
little thing there. So, Independent Venue Week, how important is that for you guys? How has it kind of shaped your guys' career having these independent venues as a band?
It wouldn't exist probably.
I think we've spent the majority of our careers going through venues like Tunbridge Wells Forum and like Boiler Room in Guildford and stuff like that. It's like we've played there so many times, making our way up and like supporting other bigger bands and stuff like that. We wouldn't have got a looking if it wasn't for independent venues.
Yeah, not at all.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's such an important week. Because what was the first venue you guys ever played as a band?
Tom Pom Theatre?
No.
Oh,
no.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Platform 5.
Platform 5.
Oh,
in
Platform
Ashford.
5.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Independent, not quite a venue though.
Yeah, it doesn't have any walls or a ceiling.
Okay. So that's,
It was a
It's a
tent.
tent.
Yeah.
it's a
It's a
tent.
tent
Independent tent.
and a
Independent
bit
tent
of
week.
wood
That's
that you stand on.
But hey, they were good to us.
They
That's
were really
yeah.
lovely
They
to
were.
us.
Start it all off, which is what you need, isn't it? Which is
Rest their
nice.
souls.
Yeah. No, I quite like to have a look through bands' playlists on Spotify. So I had a look at your Indie Classics playlist, which had Pro Procrastinator on there. And then I had a look at your Beatles Classics, which had Pro Procrastinator. And then I had a little look at your Country Classics, which was Pro Procrastinator.
Yeah.
It's a nice shaping there. Nice.
Classic.
It's a classic song. It is.
It's a great
It's-
song, yeah.
It's a tune.
I read an article the other day that said the best way to get plays for your songs is to copy a really big playlist with exactly the same name, because there's no way of stopping people naming a playlist the same thing, and then just hiding your song like 3 songs in, and that's what people are doing now. That's from like a proper mastering engineer suggested doing that.
Oh, there you go.
That's-
Come out of the.
That's what we did.
That's exactly there.
We
We
forgot to
took
put
it
the
on
others.
board. Well, that's it. But I would love to hear a country version of Pro Procrastinator if I'm honest. Pro Procrastinator. I think that might be fun
We've never
to
done
do.
it. Have
We
we?
could do that.
Have we ever done like a? We have a few other country versions of other songs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did Country Mean Heart.
We do have a
Oh yeah, there is a
Country version of Mean Heart.
Oh, okay.
We have this thing called Sheppy Punk, which is
Yeah.
from where we're from. There's it's called the island of Sheppy,
Yeah.
and it's just basically like if you're a 50-year-old man kind of playing a really fast kind of punk song. So we do
Yeah.
Sheppy Punk versions of
Yeah.
our songs, but never country versions.
How was it filming that video as well? Because it looked like a really fun one to film that Pro Procrastinator video. It looked hot as well.
actually.
Was it?
Yeah.
Me and Jamie.
I never
Yeah.
got my deposit back.
Oh,
We were the
damn.
ones in the suit, and,
Oh, really? What?
Yeah.
2 of you?
me and Jamie
We
took
alternated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It looked very hot, so I don't blame you.
I've never seen 2 hot, like sweatier people
Very hot.
ever.
The head didn't stay on very well.
It was in
and you had to
January
sort
as
of
well,
hold
wasn't it?
Oh, really? So
I
you
think we
expect
filmed it in
Hold,
January.
like, warehouse.
Yeah.
And they were just sweating.
The thing is, we shot a lot of takes because we wanted it to look funny.
Yeah.
And so me and Rob would hurt ourselves in the suit. And then they'd be behind the camera going, "Oh, it just didn't quite look that funny," and we'd be like in agony inside
We
the
tried
suit.
so hard.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's finding that fine line. But we had a lot of pretending to fall over. That really hurt.
Yeah. We got a little bit of padding in there, but mostly
Yeah.
it was just hard concrete floor.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Falling off a pogo stick or falling
Yeah, there was a lot of damage being done. It was.
None of the props were like as soft as they look on the camera either.
Oh, really?
So like
They
the
put
bed
on-
isn't actually a bed; it's a piece of
It's 4
solid
wooden stools, wasn't it?
wooden
Or metal
like-
stools?
I think they were like solid ABS plastic.
They're
thing.
very hard.
Oh no.
And so there was like a duvet on top of solid plastic. So when he jumps on the bed,
Really
he's just
hurt.
jumping on solid, like a table like that.
Ow.
Just face down into.
Pointing at things off camera.
I don't-
Imagine a table.
Oh, well, I mean that's
Thinking
yeah.
Table.
But I do like your videos. I am a fan of, because Teriyaki was the first song that brought me to you guys back in 2016. And I remember that video and I loved it so much. The beach and the matching outfits and the ice cream and the hats flying all around everywhere.
We hated it, if it makes you feel any better.
Oh, really?
That was like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning on the beach on the Isle of Sheppy.
Oh, really?
You don't want anyone to be there.
Oh, yeah, you want it
Because
all.
all you get at that time is dog walkers looking at us like, what the hell is going on over there?
Did you get any in the background that you were like, "Gah! Take another one"?
I think you must have just waited.
You're just like,
Alright,
go on,
just
off you
come out.
go. Yeah.
It was the biggest tripod ever, wasn't it?
It was.
Peugeot, what was
Peugeot
your car?
106.
Peugeot.
Peugeot 106, mate.
Put the camera on the
We
back
didn't
shelf.
remember a tripod, so we had to put it on top of a car.
Oh.
It worked.
It worked.
I mean, you did the trick.
Can't tell.
It looked good. Yeah, I want to know that, so you know. But I like how you stripped it back as well. I had a look at the session you did for Pace magazine in America, and you stripped Teriyaki back, Jamie, and it sounded so cool. Like, is that an arrangement that you've had for a while?
Yeah, that's like a go-to one. It came about, I think your snare broke on stage.
Oh no!
Once, so we were without a drummer for a bit, so I had to kind of stall in the crowd for about 5 minutes. So I literally just played it on the spot,
Yeah.
and
Slowed it right down.
yeah, people liked it.
Yeah.
I filmed it, and like I think a couple of girls did a cover of it as well. if I remember right. They
Amazing.
did much better than I had sung it. But
Oh.
yeah, it was very good.
But you're such like a fun band for that as well, and I do love all of your video concepts. Like all my friends, I relate to that song so much because I'm the only one out of my friends doing a creative job, and they're all kind of like doing their kind of 9 to 5s and
Succeeding.
they're succeeding. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I was living
Nice
off beans and
houses,
stuff, and maybe buy
cars.
your products. But I love the video for that as well. So when you're kind of like writing songs and kind of crafting them and stuff, do you have a visual idea of how you want them to look and how you'd like to play around with them a bit?
I wish I could say yes, but the truth is, normally after we decide to release it as a single, we then get told by management, okay, you've got 3 weeks to make a music video, and then we spend the next 3 weeks not really sleeping and panicking and running around. And it's normally the first idea that comes into my head that isn't initially considered to like ruin our careers. We normally go with that one.
Yeah.
And normally there's not enough time to say no, so we end up just doing it, hence why there are so many like absolutely mad videos, because no one opposes me.
We get to do it, but I'm all about that. I mean, I love the little sketches and things you do. I watched the Love Island one you did recently. I make sketches myself for the BBC, so I'm all about it. I like the silliness, all about the content. Speaking of content, Be Content, that's been out for a while now as well. Look at that.
That was a great segment.
Oh, stop it. It's like I
Beautiful.
planned it. But what I like is you have quite a lot of creative control over your music, and you do a lot of self-producing, don't you? But you work with Claudius and Matt Mittendorfer, didn't you? Who's done like Panic at the Disco and Weezer, who mixed
name.
it. Huge name.
Oh,
Probably-
loads of letters.
Yeah,
It is a
literally.
it is a long name.
Figuratively and literally a
Yeah.
big name. Yeah.
How was it working with him?
It was nice. I think because he's worked with so many similar artists that we were influenced by, like Ash and Weezer. He knew what we wanted.
Yeah.
He got it
that
straight
was,
away.
Yeah, that was
We
the
sent,
easy
like,
part.
When the album was finished recorded, we sent a bunch of people, a bunch of mixers, like a song to try out basically, and they all came back with like an interesting take on it, because
Yeah.
we've done, up until the album, we'd done everything ourselves, so
Yeah.
it was so easy. We just knew it was like, this is what it sounds like, because there is no other variation.
Yeah.
And so some of the others came back, and it was always interesting, but when Claudius came back, everyone was just like, oh, that's the one.
That's the one we want. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting when someone else has input though, isn't it? Because it is kind of your baby, and when someone does, you're a bit like, how's it going to be and how's it going to sound? But
The cool thing that Claudius does is he sort of takes what the rough sounds like, so what we're listening to in the studio, and he just makes it sound bigger.
yeah.
Whereas like some people might try and put too much of a stamp on it, or like change it a little bit, and it's a hard thing to explain, but
Yeah.
he just made it sound bigger and more explosive than what we already had, which was we already quite liked, so that's good.
Yeah.
He was living in New York at the time, so we had to like Skype everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he'd have to like sit there, and I could just see his head floating on my computer screen. And
There
then
it
he'd push
is.
play, and then I'd wait for the music to come out of the speakers.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'd just have to sit there, and he'd be like, right, it's going to play now.
So you saw
And
your
sit-
reaction
and you
and
sit, and you
everything?
sit there for like 15 seconds, and then the song would start playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. And then he's actually moved to London now, but So after we finished, and then I needed like one change. So he's like, I built a studio in London. I live here now. I was like, that's a lot easier.
That's better than Skype. That is good. But what I liked about it is, well, you brought up some songs that I actually didn't realise how old some of the songs actually were, because this album was sort of 5 years in the making. So Cutie Pie and Bloated, I love that song. It's such a big tune, and I didn't realise it was actually from like earlier in your career as well.
It's literally the first song we ever wrote
Was
together.
it?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was the first one ever that we sat in a room and tried to figure out how to play. And that's kind of why we wanted it to be on the album.
Yeah.
And we still play it, don't we?
It's a great song. I love that song. I think
Thank
it's really good. How is it kind of like reworking it and stuff? Because Mean Heart as well you've got on there, and there's quite a few that you've like reworked for the album, of course, that's what you need to do. So how is it kind of breathing some life into those again?
It was quite tricky at the time because we had versions that we recorded ourselves that we sat with for a few years, so it was quite hard changing bits of the song when it was already in our heads like concrete. We'd already finished it.
Yeah.
But we had to make it kind of fit the album, because we didn't want the album to sound like a compilation of songs. We wanted to feel like every song was like part of the same session. Minimal changes really, because
we've recorded that
ethos.
song a lot of times, I think, because the demo was different to the EP version. So the first thing we ever did, a demo that went out, that we then re-recorded it for the first EP, and then we recorded it again for the album.
Oh wow!
We'll just record it for the next album as well.
Just
to
keep
make
doing
sure
new
that
versions.
we.
Just keep bumping it up.
Yeah.
But Good Enough as well. I saw that you nicked Yanis as a mini moog for that one.
Oh yeah.
Was that a cheeky little,
he doesn't actually know that.
Does he not? Sorry,
he
Yanis.
left it. He left it. He works with a guy called Brett Shaw, and he left it in his studio.
Yeah.
And I paid Brett, but he wasn't there either. So I don't know if any of these people know but we were using their instruments on our songs. But
So
we just went down and used some of their stuff, because he's got loads of really, really expensive and nice things.
Yeah.
That are really hard to get hold of.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean, because the musical arrangements of your songs, they are very light-hearted, they are very upbeat, and they're super hooky. But the lyrics are quite like, personal and very connected, and like, quite self-deprecating at times.
Yeah.
So is that something that you kind of like bring, kind of the lyrics come first, and you kind of bring like the upbeat just to kind of bring in that sound?
If anything, is the exact opposite.
Oh, really?
The vocals come first, where I just make up random noises, and then that's what the song sounds like for about 6 months. And then when we decided to record it, I realised, oh no, I have to actually make
What was the song called? The new one.
Dopamine Girls.
Yeah, but what did you think it was called, Ollie?
No, I know what it was called. I just mispronounced it once.
Oh.
I've never let it down.
Yeah, so that's kind of the process, and I think because I write a lot of the lyrics together at the same time, it makes it a lot easier to create a theme for the whole album, and it just generally tends to be self-deprecating, because I find it quite hard to be enthusiastic about anything.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, and then just bring it through the music. I like it. That's it. But Mapping of Dandruff, I think that's a really nice moment in the album, because that is probably the most melancholic out of all of the tracks, and it's right in the middle, which I quite liked.
Yeah. That was intentional.
Was it? Yeah, right. That's good. That's good. I picked it up. I got that, which is nice. It's really good.
Yeah, that's like the only real love-ish song in the album. Was the rest are more kind of the bad side of a relationship rather than the good side, and that one's the kind of where you're in the sweet little honeymoon phase, which is kind of what it sounds like, really, with all of the wavy guitars and stuff like that.
Definitely. It's nice to plonk it in the middle as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mix it up a bit. Why not?
We did plonk it.
We plonked it in there with thought. But I love how you kind of crafted your own little world around it as well. I had to go on that game, so while I was doing my research, I got very distracted because I was on that for a while.
That was Rob.
Yeah,
What did you find?
What did I find? I found the sessions through that.
Ah, nice.
And I found some hidden stuff.
I forgot what's in there, to be honest.
There's loads of good stuff.
Yeah,
it's
it took a long time to put that together, and it got delayed and came out a bit late. The plan was to have it stagger, so you keep going back and find new stuff. And it came out so late that we would just put everything.
Just go crazy, yeah.
So but it was fun to make.
Did it take a long time to do?
Yeah, because I made the artwork first.
Yeah.
So I made it just for the artwork, and that took probably. I mean, not full time, but like 5-6 months.
Yeah.
And then we were like, we want to put this on the internet.
Yeah.
So you have to then change it all to make it work on the internet, and that took about 5-6 months.
Oh my gosh, it's a long process, but it's so worth it because it's different and it's unique, and I liked that.
Yeah. It was sort of thing we were like, no band ever does this sort of thing. Turns out there's a reason why.
Okay.
It's a year.
It's complicated. Yeah. Well, at least it's out there and it's done. So you can be like, we've done that and it's great. And I'm sure everyone loved it. I loved
People
it.
bring it up a lot, so it must
That's it. They're chatting about it.
Jamie likes it.
Yeah, that's it. There we go. We're all a fan. It's good. So we're in a new decade now, 2020. Crazy. So what's your kind of plans for the rest of the year? How are you feeling about the rest of the year this year? I know you're playing some new songs tonight, so.
I'm quite excited. It's like a fresh start. We've disappeared for a bit writing for potentially the next album.
Yeah.
And we're at a point now where we feel confident enough to start going into the studio and starting to lay down tracks for it. Yeah, the year is kind of like a blank canvas for us because it really depends when we decide to go into the studio as to how much touring we do and stuff like that. But it's quite nice because we got to a point now where the album has fully been out and everyone that wants to hear it has heard it.
Yeah.
And it's nice to let it kind of breathe for a bit before we come back because we don't want to be like that annoying band that just doesn't go away. But it's quite nice to have had a little bit of a break from like I went off social media for about 6 months and I don't think anyone even noticed really.
People noticed
when you came back.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we're gonna have we're not gonna do many festivals. I think so that we can do as many as possible next year.
Great, yeah.
And we'll probably be recording. Although being in studios when it's hot is a bit nuts, but we always seem to go. We always end up. We always record in July.
Yeah.
And like when our studio that we used for like the first album, all the EPs and everything, until the day after we finished the album, we bought air conditioning. But up until that point, it was like you basically couldn't wear clothes in there. It was that hot.
Oh no!
Like, the other guy that. So I produced the record, and then Chris, my friend, co-produced with us.
Yeah.
And I more than once have gone into the studio and he's just in his pants, nothing else. And he's he looks strange with no clothes on.
Really? You were like,
yeah,
oh, okay.
like an
Strange
alien
with
has
clothes.
He looks quite
It's an experience in general. Well, guys, thank you so much for chatting to me today. I'm really excited to hear some new stuff tonight as well. It's going to be exciting.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers.
Thank you, bye.